beautiful people to Brand Talk, and I am your host, Ik Ojibe. And I'm very excited about today because today we will be discussing collaboration and collaboration in business, especially in Africa. Like we're looking at it from an African perspective. And I have two amazing people here with me. They are not new to Branto, but perhaps you're joining us for the first time. I'll just do a bit introduction and I'll allow them also introduce themselves. First, we have Fungi Dube from Zimbabwe, an amazing personality. She is a design and branding expert. I'll also add a business educator as well. And also, we have Mohammed Jaafar, also a design and branding expert, entrepreneur, and business educator as well. I think I'll start with Fungi. Just for the sake of those joining us for the first time, please just tell us a bit about yourself. So let's start with that.
Hi everyone. Thank you so much, IK, for having me back. As he has already said, my name is Fungi. I am a brand and visual identity graphic designer who's based here in Harare, Zimbabwe. I have been designing for the past 6 years, and I'm extremely passionate about elevating African narratives through modern design. So a lot of my work is centered on how best we can tell the African story and how we can tell it beautifully and with the reverence and grace that it deserves. Yeah, that's a bit about myself.
Amazing, fantastic. And okay, so Jafar, let's can you introduce just for the sake of those joining in for the first time?
All right. Hello, Brand Talk community, and thanks for having me back on the Brand Talk sessions, IK. So, as I said, my name is Muhammad Jaafar, and I'm a brand identity and visual designer. I am also a design educator in the sense that I try to help aspiring designers and design enthusiasts to come into the design world and kind of like approach it in the right way, whereby whenever they start putting up their works, there are things that are being done rightly, and when if they're using their designs to help businesses grow, they are doing designs that are actually geared towards business success and not just designing for the sake of design. So I'm also particular about. Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, yeah. So I'm also particular about helping businesses craft identities that position them in the right way and help them attract their ideal customers and that. So yeah, that's basically about me.
All right. So thank you for introducing yourself. Like I said, if this is your first time, if already for those that have been with us, you know that these two guys are just that power packed and just sit down and relax and expect to get loads of information that will help you as a business person. And you're joining us for the first time, I'll just relax and just soak in the information because it's gonna drop like it's hot. All right. All right. So today we're talking about collaboration in businesses in Africa, basically, because just like Fungi said, just like Fungi talked about promoting the African narrative, the African experience. That's also what Brand Talk tries to do, and we're a young continent, right? Okay, I think I'll just go straight with. I'll start with this. There's this a content I saw online, and it was on Instagram from one of my favorite content creators, and it's a I think I just call him a business coach per se. Buzi Tempakwayo. Like I'm sorry if I got the name or but he's a South African and I've followed his content for uh, for a while now, like pretty about a year plus right now. And his content is one I've come to always enjoy anytime I come across, whether on YouTube, Instagram, and all. And he said something pretty interesting in one of his content I came across some couple of months back. Now, he talked about the business environment in Africa versus the business environment, say, in the Western world, and the impact of colonization and slavery in terms of how we have crafted our business environment as Africans. So now he referred to going back to the slavery days, the very, very sad days that we have, the slavery days. Now, there's always one black person in the house. Now, the black person is called a house nigger. Like, there's just one person in the house and then the rest are in the field. And that creates some sort of, like, I'll say some sort of animals. Like, it creates this bad blood between the person that is choosing to be the house nigger versus the other niggers in the field. And now, also fast forward going to when South Africa, because he used his own place, like, to further buttress it. South Africa was going through the Nelson Mandela day when they were trying to come to the negotiation table to talk about the future of South Africa, especially post apartheid. And the only black man that was invited to the table was the late President Nelson Mandela, God bless his soul. And that has created this sort of mindset, this sort of competitive mindset in us as Africans, that for every time one person is doing good or one person is like, we see the person as doing good, instead of collaborating, instead of looking for ways to collaborate, we're looking for ways to bring the person down. We're looking for ways to compete with the person. So we see in Africa there's a lot of competition. Let's say something like Tesla it's an African, say Elon Musk is an African, or let's just assume the three of us now. Fungi decides to go into electric cars and all, and instead of me looking for, okay, Fungi is developing electric cars or Fungi is building electric cars, I can start doing tires for electric cars. I can start looking for, okay, building stations, recharging stations for electric cars. What I'll decide to do is I'll say, okay, since Fungi and she's looking into the future and of course electric cars, AI and all that, I want to also go into electric cars and compete with Fungi. And probably Jafar wants to also do the same since both of us are now into electric cars. So we have a lot of competition in the business environment as against collaboration, and that has been the same in every sector, the creative sector. Like there's little collaboration and more competition, and this is what we're trying to. We want to get our people off that mindset, especially business owners. We want them to understand the importance, the beauty of collaboration versus competition. So I think I'll just stop here because I think I've laid the floor, and I want you, our guests, to understand where to get the whole foundation good for you, and also for the listener to understand where we're driving from and where we're headed to. So I think I'll start with Jafar. Okay. Now,
Yeah.
let's hear your opinion in this scenario in terms of like collaboration versus competition. What do you think, especially in the business environment in Africa?
All right. I think you've laid an awesome foundation as regards understanding what collaboration is and how it helps. So, in basic terms, what we understand by collaboration is working jointly to achieve a common goal. That's like the basic definition. If you go on Merriam-Webster and all that, that's basically what you'll see. But in terms of a business, yeah, you are bringing two distinct experience together to create one very beautiful experience. Now, let's use the example that you gave, which is that of building electric cars. So, as I said, we are the three of us on this platform right now. We decide that, okay, now we are looking towards the future, looking to sustainability of life and all that, reducing carbon emission and all that. So we want to go green. We decide to start producing electrical vehicles and all that in the African system. Instead of competing, whereby I start my own, I give it a certain name, you start your own, give it that IK, start your own electric company, give it a certain name. Fungi starts our own Give It a Name. In that aspect, we're having three competing businesses. Yeah. In that way, how does hello, are you with me?
Yes, we can. I can hear you.
Okay, so in that sphere now, we have three competing businesses, whereby in trying to reduce our carbon footprint by going green, when we now have those three competing businesses, because at that point, each business is producing its own cars, producing their parts, everything, we are using more energy emission. But when we now come, if we were to come together to collaborate, whereby me, I'm doing the tires, you, Ike, you're using maybe the batteries and the lights, Fungi is producing the other parts of the cars. In that sphere, we all have our unique ideas, our unique approach to producing those select items that we key on. When we now bring it all together, it now brings up a very beautiful experience. A very popular example, I think we all know GoPro and Red Bull. So these are two different businesses. GoPro, they are into cameras and the likes. Red Bull, fine, we basically know Red Bull for their energy drink, but on a grander scale, Red Bull is into a lot of other things like all these extreme sports, pushing yourself to the limit. Red Bull goes for that. So now these two companies, they come together regularly. That's why you see when they're having all these extreme sports events, you see the riders, they are fitted with helmets that have cameras on top. When those footages, the footage that is captured on those helmet camera, when it's released, it gives you an immersive experience into the sport. So it now makes you, the user, to feel like as if you are in the sport, you're the one that is riding those bikes. And that is made possible by the collaboration of two distinct companies coming together to give us a beautiful experience. So when multiple brands or multiple businesses come together, when they collaborate on ideas, they achieve a goal that is much more far-reaching than just one business going into that idea. So, and it has a lot of benefits in terms of, let's say, in terms of marketing, advertising, putting yourself out there, because when two companies do one thing that is spectacular, everybody wants to know who are those companies. You get? So if, as example that you gave, if the three of us come together now and say, okay, we have produced this electric vehicle, we give it a unifying name, everybody wants to know who did this tire that is very, very outstanding, who made this battery that is lasting long, who designed this body that is very, very strong. In that way, they now know that, okay, three different companies came together to give us this awesome experience. Now, other people want to, maybe they are on other things, like maybe there's someone that is doing tractors now and needs tires for their tractors equipment. They will come and say, okay, you worked on this amazing electric vehicle, so that your tires are really good. Why not come and collaborate with us also? In that way, it opens the business other opportunities, and in a far-reaching mentality, it gives how do I put it? The advantages are very, very vast. The advantages of collaboration is very, very vast, because a lot of things happen to come through collaboration. So I think I would put a pause here and.
Okay, yeah, because I didn't want you to go deep in the advantages yet. So, Fungi, let's hear from you. Like, what do you think in terms of collaboration versus competition? And I would love to hear your own point.
Thank you, Ik. So first of all, I also listened to Vositembo Kwayo, and I think that he is absolutely amazing. And just going back to the issue that you raised as you're introducing this, when you were talking about like colonial times and how there's been a shift in mentality because of that, and then that then affects how we interact as African creators, is something that obviously holds a lot of impact, right? When we now go into this story of talking about how we then collaborate. So I'm going to approach it more from a creative point of view, where just a few days ago, I was talking about designing with culture on Geneza Training's Instagram page. And one of the issues that I raised, I was talking about how I think when it comes to competition and collaboration, we need to be able to find ourselves as young African creatives in a place whereby we're more open to actually working together. Because when you look at the grander scope of things and at the bigger platform, there are a lot of things that we don't have access to. And there are a lot of things that are difficult for us to get. So one example, for instance, would be the fact that if you're a designer and you're working on something and you're trying to get stock photography that reflects Africa in a positive light, or in general is representative of the African population, it's something that takes a lot of work. You have to have these very, like long, very complicated keywords that you're typing into Google to try and come up with a Black corporate man holding a briefcase standing by an elevator, just so that you can find a picture that resonates with what you're trying to do within the African context. So what does that mean? And that means that as opposed to, like seeing each other's work and maybe feeling intimidated or feeling like you need to outdo someone, why do we not then come together and say, hey, I have branding skills, so I can definitely come up with an identity, but I know an amazing photographer, right, who can create some stock photography for me. And then I know someone who can build an amazing website. So, all of that together, it means that we're now starting to think and we're shifting our mindset from that competitive space, but more so coming up with solutions together that allow for us at the end of the day to not only become stronger, but to also network better and to build better platforms for ourselves. So yeah, it's one of those things where I think it definitely requires a lot of intention in the fact that we have to sort of shift our mindsets because, like colonial times, everything was very consumerist based, where obviously it was such a struggle. And I talk of this even in the Zimbabwean context and what we went through, where it was literally hand to mouth. So everything that you got, you had to consume. So because of that mentality hasn't gone away, where you want to make sure that you feed yourself and you're able to sustain yourself, because unfortunately that's what happened during those times. So undoing that is a big process, but it's not something that is impossible. It requires for like-minded people to come together and be like, this is what happened to us, but this is not what defines us, because we're more than that. So let's come together, let's come up with ideas that allow for us to be able to progress into the future and progress into the future with, like being more confident and knowing that everything that we're building for Africa at whole's benefit, and even for future African creators will be coming into the picture. So yeah, I think that would be my take on that, Ik.
I really appreciate what you talk in terms of when you reference we need to change our mindset, like from the consumer, and it's also an impact or an effect from the colonial era even till now. Africa is regarded as like the consumer continent, like they don't see us as producers, because I think that when we shift from that consumer mindset to the producer mindset, which I believe we're doing right now, which I believe that we're on the journey. I don't care what anybody is saying, but the thing is that we need to educate our people, we need to educate business owners, we need to educate different industries, not just business owners, on this collaboration, like, because we need to start working together. I love that where you explained about, now I'm good at branding, you're good at you're good at photography, you're good at web designing, you're good at this, and it still goes back to what Jaafar talked about, like, now, because if I measure what I'm good at and you measure what you're good at, and we all come together, we create one amazing project instead of just one person just having this, I have to do the whole photography, or because I don't know how to take photographs, I have to depend on what I see, what I get from Google. And just like you pointed out, if to get anything that has to do with African on Google, it's like, I don't even want to go there and all. So, so we need
It's
to,
quite daunting.
yeah, it's quite daunting. Like, so we need to get to that point. We need to get to that. And one industry that I think that, because I've looked at them, whether from Africa, whether from the Western world, is the movie and the music industry. There's a lot of collaboration there. Now let's come back, let's come down to Africa. There's a lot of collaboration. If you look at the music industry, you see a lot of collaboration between the Nigerian art and other African art. You see when it comes to movies, you see a lot of collaboration. There's director, there's photographer, there's actors from all around Africa. So I don't know why is it. Okay, I'll start. I'm throwing this question to you, Fungi, first. Like, why is it, or why do you think that the movie and the music industry, what did they come to understand about collaboration that other industries are playing catch up with? Like, what did they understand?
I think it just boils down to what we've been talking about to say that I think there's a deeper understanding that if you want to make something big happen, you can't do it by yourself. So there's that general overlying appreciation that different people bring different skills to the table. So when we're looking at like movies and that sort of thing, because these are major productions, like big scale production, you know, there are lights, there's audio, there's motion, there's, you know, directing, there's all sorts of things, there's set design, all of that. There is no way that one person will be able to do all of that. So it's just an appreciation of saying, hey, different skill sets, let's come together, let's see if we can create something magical, something powerful, something beautiful. Whereas I think when it then comes down to maybe our line of work, it necessarily isn't the case, because there's an overlying mentality where you're like, oh, okay, if I don't know it, I can learn it, which is good, right? But in those 3 months or 6 months that you're taking to learn this skill, why would you not then just acknowledge that, hey, this is out of my depth and I need for someone else to come on board and for us to work together? So in that case, one really, really good example, and I'm sure that both of you will be familiar with it, is how Zara did the Clubhouse rebrand as a personal project, and obviously partnered up with an amazing motion designer, and they came up with the most mind-blowing project that I've seen this year, in my opinion.
Yeah, that was an amazing project.
Yeah, so I think it's that thing, right, where we can refer back to the movies and say, okay, there's a general understanding that not everyone can do everything. But in this case, in this example that I've given, you acknowledge and you step out of your ego as a creative, and you're like, okay, I definitely need someone else to help me out with this, because yeah, I can take time to learn it, which is good, like I said, because upskilling is important. But if we're doing it in the moment, doing it in the now, we need to be able to at least have a rollout in like the next few weeks. Then be humble enough, right, and be very aware of yourself as a person and where your strengths lie, to be able to reach out to someone and be like, oh, hey, so this is an idea that I have, and I know that I can bring this, but in order for us to take it to that next star level, right, to that like Batman type of thing, you know, like where it's like super, super cool, I know that I'm gonna need for you to come on board, and if you're open to that, then let's do it. Because at the end of the day, I think it becomes less about like personal credit, like, oh, like Fungi's name is attached to this and she did this. Because when we're now looking at it, we're like, oh my goodness, what an example of how amazing it is when, you know, creative minds actually come together. So that would be my take on that, IK, just to be like, I think that it's a mindset thing, in my opinion, and I believe that's going to be my main message today, where you're saying when you look at other industries, what have they cracked? And what I think they've cracked is the fact that they acknowledge that in order to go far, you have to go together. So yeah.
You know, there's a proverb that says, and I can't believe it's an African proverb. I don't like, it's my personal opinion. It's an African proverb. Like, if you want to go fast, you go alone. But if you want to go far, you go with someone. Like, you go together, you know. Okay, so now, Jaafar, so I'm going to throw this question to you now. Someone might be thinking, because of course it's an ego thing, right? Like, I'm known to be a badass graphic designer, right? Why would I want to share the glory? Wouldn't that even cut into my profit? Wouldn't that even cut into my, oh, like, because some see collaboration as sort of as a weak thing, like it shows I'm weak. Like they have this mindset that when I collaborate, it shows I'm weak. It shows I'm showing I'm showcasing my weak spots and all that, and giving other people advantage to take some sort of, I don't know, but it's like to take this okay, because I'm not good here, they can like showcase themselves that, oh, they're good here, and that they did the entire motion, and they're taking jobs, they're taking projects, they're taking contracts. Like some have this, someone that might be listening will have this mentality, and like, is this the case when it comes to collaboration?
Yeah. So as Fungi said, yeah, it all comes down to the mindset. It all comes down to, and from what you said in the design sphere, you have people that instead of collaborating, they'll be like, if I collaborate with someone, it shows that I'm not really good at doing this, I'm not really good at doing that. First of all, if you collaborate, it actually shows that you are able to step out of a certain mindset of doing things alone because you want to achieve a greater goal. And that alone shows that, okay, yeah, you are you are someone with a very strong mindset, someone who is looking to achieve something better. Because if you were to do it on your own, fine, you can do something good, you are a very, very bad designer, but there's a limit to where you can get to on your own. If you were to collaborate with someone, let's say there is a branding project for a certain company, when you do your research, when you think and everything, there is a point where you would stop. It's not showing that you have a weak mindset. It's showing that, okay, yes, this is where your ability extends to. But if you were to now bring on someone else onto that same project, and the person brings on their own ideas, there is a mixture of thinking, everybody gives their own thought process as to how what can be achieved and how it can be achieved. There's a tendency of going beyond where, if you were to do it alone, where you will get to, the tendency of going beyond that. And a very, very awesome example was one Fungi gave earlier, a project by Zara and I've forgotten the name of the motion designer. They did a very, very amazing rebrand for the app Clubhouse. That if it were to just be a branding project alone, fine, Zara did an awesome job with the identity. But then bringing on 3D, the motion and everything, it's now elevated the project beyond where it is as just normal graphic design or just normal branding design. It took it to a much more amazing level. So in that sphere, fine, as a standalone designer, you can do something amazing. There is no problem with that. But it doesn't show that you are weak when you collaborate. And now, if you look at it in the aspect of income or what you earn for creatives, one thing that we should understand is when you collaborate, you're not reducing your own income. You are in fact putting, like, giving a space to earn more. Because when you collaborate, when you bring two different skills together, you can then put a much more higher price, because you won't be charging at the level of just you alone. You're charging at the level of the different skills that are coming together to achieve the end goal of that project. And in that sphere, everybody that is putting their hands together on that project are going to earn their due. They're not going to have maybe like anything that is taken out of what they are meant to collect. So in terms of earning, collaboration is also a good way to actually earn more for creatives. And when we now attribute this to a lot of other things, it brings about the very, very fun experience of, like, okay, we'll all be exchanging ideas. Maybe from that sphere, I can maybe pick up on what I don't know before and add it to my my repertoire of things that I know. And it brings about a very, very amazing environment where everybody exchanges ideas, everybody learns something new and all that. So for creatives, collaboration is something that is very, very good and something that we should actually be trying to key more into and change our mindsets as regards it. Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. Like, I want to ask, and Fungi, I'm throwing this question to you. Now, I'm a business person. I'm a designer, whatever industry I am. I've decided, okay, after hearing this, okay, I want to try collaboration. Now, from your own personal experience, how do you reach out to people you collab or you want to collaborate with? How do you build that relationship? How do you even identify who you want to collaborate with from your own personal experience?
Okay, so I love this question because, as you know, I'm a solopreneur, so that means that I work by myself for myself. But I'm also very cognizant of the fact that I cannot do everything. So my expertise lies in brand and visual identity and packaging, but I can't design websites. It's something that I'm working on, but in this very moment, I can't do that. So the very nice thing about the ecosystem that we exist in and the times that we're in is that the internet makes us so much closer than we actually are. I'm so privileged because I get to be here with you and with Muhammad, yet we're in different places in different countries.
Yeah.
So that alone puts us in a position that is so powerful because regardless of where someone can be, as long as we have an internet connection, then we can make magic happen. So in terms of identifying who to work with, I think the internet really is our oyster. You can look through Behance, you can look through Instagram accounts. In general, a lot of the creators that I interact with are very, approachable, very easy people to speak with. Just be kind in their DMs and tell them what you're thinking and they can respond back. LinkedIn is also another great place to find opportunities for collaboration. So if you type in similar keywords and you find people within your field or who are a little bit more upskilled than you are and are able to execute what you need, then you can always reach out to them. At this point, like everything is literally one DM away, right? So it's just a matter of just being polite, like I said, and just really taking time out to sort of sift through all the accounts that are available online, just reaching out to them and saying, hey, this is my idea, and just hearing what they say, and you can take it up from there. But that would be the best and what is the easiest thing to do now. If people can slide into your DMs and say the most outlandish things, I'm sure you can slide into someone's DM and ask them for a work opportunity or collaboration. I think it works two ways.
Definitely now, like we slid into your DM and that's you in Zimbabwe, we're in Nigeria, and that's it. DM is why this is possible today. We're happy today and all. So, Jafar, I want to ask, like, are there red flags? Are there some things we have to look out for? Is there some sort of red flags in case, okay, I reach out to this person and we're interacting, we're having conversation, talking about, are there some red flags from your own personal experience, like, or in your own opinion, are there some red flags we should look out for? Or things that we just read red flag is not the right person?
Okay, so I think before to identify red flag is you kind of have to have identified those red flags prior to messaging the person. So I think when you decide to message someone, you have kind of like, okay, felt like, okay, yeah, this person is the right person for this project. And although during the course of the project there might be some things that might come up that might feel, okay, maybe next time I wouldn't want to work with this person, but some things to actually look out for before going ahead to collaborate is to kind of understand their skill set. Yeah, to understand their skill set, because currently, as vast as good as internet is, which is very really awesome, it's has opened us up to a lot of opportunities and likes. We see some people who tend to plagiarize, whereby they take other people's works and pass it off as their own. I've seen a lot of scenarios like that, whereby someone just goes on another person's Instagram, pick up all their works. If it's watermarks, they take out the watermarks and pass it off as their own. You might think that okay, this person is doing some great work and all that, but it's also very good to actually make a research into that person, understand their skills. Are they really good at what they are displaying? If they are putting up awesome design works, are they really good at this design work? They're putting up awesome 3D, awesome photography, images and all that. Are they really good at these things that they are putting up? First of all, understand all these things. If you can clear that hurdle, then you look at interpersonal relationship. Maybe when you when you are discussing with the person, chatting with the person, how are they responding? What is their approach? Maybe you went to meet up with them like, hello, I have this idea I would like us to collaborate on and everything. And you try to understand how do they respond to it. If they are coming off as okay, someone that wants to maybe they are not really that respectful to your idea, or maybe they want to kind of take over the whole project from you. Basically the thing about collaboration is to share ideas. Okay, this is where my skill set is up to, and I see that you have a much more advanced skill set. I would like to bring you on board with this and all that. If you notice that they want to now shift it away from you and all those kind of things, that they are showing tendencies of someone that would want to, let's say, want to become the boss of your own idea. Although it's not bad for someone to tell you that, okay, I feel it could go in this way and this way might be another, but it has to be in the way whereby each person's ideas are valid, not whereby one wants to just completely take over everything and maybe change the whole dynamics of this thing. And also, during the course of the project, find everything has been ticked off and decide, okay, let's go ahead with it. Okay, and that thing again that most people might not really want to look at is agreement, because the basis of everything has to be agreement. If it's going to be a project that would be that won't require, let's say, it's not going to be monetary tied, maybe like just something that's okay, it's a practice project, or something that I just feel like, okay, I have this idea, I would like to come up with it. If you want it, if you are not going to put in any monetary related aspect to it, and you go and meet someone and the person says, I can only do this for so and so amount, and you are not earning anything, if you can put out an amount, if you can match up that person's amount, fine. But if you can't, don't commit to that project and say it's just something, it's a project that I'm not in anything now. If you can't commit to that an amount or anything, you can go ahead, because there are a lot of other creatives or a lot of other business people that would be glad to work with you without asking for anything in return. Although it's not it's not bad of that person. It's just how they approach their own style of business. So you don't need to maybe badmouth or trash them or anything. It's just their own way of doing things. You can still go ahead and look for someone else that will not charge you anything. But if it's a work whereby there are going to be monetary gains, there has to be an agreement as regards, okay, what will be done and what will be gotten in return in terms of monetary aspect. So all those things have to be ironed out first before you then go ahead into the project. So this kind of goes both ways. So it goes for the person that is going to meet someone to collaborate, and it also goes for the person that is being met for a collaboration project. So all these things, and when it comes to when all the agreements have been made and you now start working on everything, timeliness, efficiency, all these things have to be looked at, and also they have to be agreed upon before going on project. So when you start seeing that this person is delaying on so and so aspect, it can be some red flags if they are not actually coming forward with reasons as to why they are delaying. Let's say valid reasons. If they're not coming forward with it, then you can look at it that, okay, maybe next time I might not want to go ahead and work with so and so person because of all that. So basically, all these things are just stuff that one can look out for when going into collaboration.
So if there's one thing I got from at least I got that part of documentation, and that's quite important, like in terms of drawing out the agreement, because when you want to collaborate, just like you said, there is no way GoPro and Red Bull didn't
Red
have
Bull.
any form of agreement or in terms of documentation. Let's agree, it's basically it's more like a constitution, right? A constitution is when a group of people decide to come together, they create a document that this is the agreement that we are staying together as a nation and all. Okay, so now I'm going to throw this last question to the both of you, and I'm going to start with Fungi, and it's now, what is the role of us as individuals, whether solopreneur, entrepreneur, business owner? What is our role in terms of promoting collaboration? And what is the role of government, the African government, and all? And honestly, they've not been quite impressive, especially with some of the news I've been hearing around in terms of, helping out the young industry and all. But what do you think, in your own opinion, what is the role of government versus what is the role of the people in terms of promoting collaboration?
Um, Thank you for the question, IK. I also wanted to say, Mohammed, like, man, you just hit the nail on the head with that last point. So, yeah, I was like nodding my head in agreement. I was like, yep, yep, yep.
Thank you very
That's
much for that.
You're welcome. So I'll start on an individual level, right? Where I think that the impetus is on every single young creative, because that's who we're addressing right now, to see how they can play a role in ensuring that they are promoting or pushing for collaboration slash supporting other creatives' work. So whether that means that you as a person are going to reach out to someone and start a passion project, whether it means that you within your own individual work are pushing something that is bigger than yourself. And what I mean in that is to say, what sort of stories are you telling? What sort of messaging are you putting out there? Will other young creators be able to recognize themselves in the work that you're doing? That's something else that we can consider. At a community level or corporate level, so being national regimes or policy changes and that sort of thing, IK, like you've rightfully said, it's not the easiest environment to exist in, because there are a lot of government policies that are not exactly geared towards young people, or they may be on paper, but in actual real time, that's not even happening, because everything that's being promised is something that's not being delivered on. So it then means that things like this, like what you've done, like Brand Talk, where we get to come together and to discuss these issues, becomes important. Other communities within West Africa, East Africa, no matter how small, even if it's 5 people, even if it's 20 people, the fact that people are coming together to learn, whether it's design, whether it's art, whether it's music, that makes a difference, right? In your neighborhood, if they are creative talents that need fostering, and you see that you can do something in order to make sure that you elevate their skill, it may not be something amazing and something like like a global newsworthy, where you hear of, oh, there's this guy in the south of this small little African country who's doing this, and it's on BBC and everything like that, which is great, but
Yeah.
we do what we can with what we have, right? So just being able to take that first step and sort of stepping outside of your own bubble and be like, what can I do? What sort of message can I put across? Who can I reach out to? Can I start a community? Is there a hub that I can go to? Can I donate something? All of that makes a difference as an individual filtering into like a community aspect. And hopefully, right, because the political environment is very volatile, and as young people, we exist in these spaces, but it's going to take a while, and that's the honest truth, for some of these breakthroughs to happen at a government level, right? So we have to make sure that we get the ball rolling. Like, do what you can now, gain momentum now, right? Small change is change regardless. One small step is a step regardless. It does not have to be massive and impact millions in one go. But if you're making just a tenth of an impact every day for the next 10 years, you may have reached 1 million people, and that makes a difference. So that's what I would say, really. I think those would be, my words of advice and encouragement, just to say, do what you can with what you have, reach out as much as you can. I mean, obviously being cognizant of the fact that there are things that you need to check out for and make sure that, the people that you're collaborating with or want to work with obviously hold the same vision as you do and have the same moral system and that sort of thing, so that at the end of the day, that the work that you're doing is intentional work that is meant for good, as opposed to intentional work that is just meant for clout. Because the change has to be real, and the significance has to be real, and the impact has to be real.
Okay, so I love what you said. Like, small change is change regardless. So basically, we have to start as individuals. So Jafar, over to you. What do you have to say?
So for basically Fungi has she has said almost everything I was thinking of, because from the creative aspect, as she said, what you are doing, the brandtokcommunity community, having a community where people get to hear that message, because I think basically a lot of us don't get to hear that message that, okay, collaboration is this, collaboration is that. We are much more of a visual set of people in this region, in the African region. Let's just put the African region, because what we see, basically, we see competition every day. That's why you see multiple companies doing the same thing. When it comes to, let's say, as little as the soft drink industry, we have multiple companies producing the same cola flavored drinks, same orange flavored drinks. A lot of competitions are rife in the ecosystem. But if we have these communities, like the brandtokcommunity communities and various communities that preach that gospel of collaboration, and also when they see designers that are actually doing those things, not only designers this time around, creative people that are actually not only preaching this message, but are actually showing them that these things, this awesome project that you are seeing out there, as a result of collaboration. Whereby when you see a photographer and a, let's say, photo manipulator who is a graphic designer coming together to create amazing body of art, and when you now inquire how was this done, you might think maybe there's only one person that did it, but you found out that it was the collaborative effort of two different people, and those same people are preaching about collaboration. It helps to change that mindset that, okay, yeah, collaboration is actually an awesome thing to key into. And when it keeps on going on and on like that, young designers, modern designers can actually see that and see that, yes, this is something that I can key into and follow through. And then when it comes to the role of the government or people in power, basically, it's to create that enabling environment. As Fungi said, a lot of these things are there, but basically they're just there on paper. They're just there on paper, whereby you hear that, if you can easily get this and this done by that, but you are not seeing it happening. If they can create that environment, there are a lot of things that is plaguing the African continent. We have things such as poverty, things such as terrorism, things such as the economical state of the nation. We in Nigeria, we all know we are going through, whereby our currency keeps on falling. So if all these things can be tackled, and it can help in creating that environment whereby people can easily collaborate on things without having the fear of will this person dupe me? Will this person not give their full attention to this? All those kind of things. If you can create an environment whereby everybody has that level of trust for each other, and they see that the system is actually helping them in coming together to achieve something great, and then we'll see all these things about collaboration. We'll see it happening, and it will be something that will be very, very awesome for the African continent.
All right. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much. As in, this has been one. Well, I promise you guys, it's going to be a roller coaster, and that's going to be like an outpouring of information and all. So, 20 seconds to each of our guests. 20 seconds. What's your take home? Like, what is it you want someone listening to this to take home from this entire conversation? Your take home from each of our guests. So, who goes first? Any volunteer?
All right, all right. Let me let me just go first.
All
So
right.
okay, to anyone listening to this, one thing that I would just like you to take home is collaboration is much more exciting than competition, because when you are competing with another person, it puts a strain on you to try to do more, to try to outthink that person. All those times that you can take and put into something and do it awesomely, you are just thinking of how to better this other person. But when you collaborate, you bring your ideas together and come up with something that is really amazing. You take your time to think through how you can perfect something and all that. So basically, just know that collaboration saves you time, while competition takes away time that you can put into doing something valuable.
Okay, thank you. So, Fungi?
And that's the word, right? Muhammad is just preaching out there, and we love to hear it. Um, I would say that if we want to go far, we should go together. I know it's something that is quite like, said a lot in circles, but it really
Yeah.
does make a difference. So, if anything, don't be afraid to reach out to whoever you think it may be that could potentially, you know, get you to a place where you can celebrate something beautiful that you would have worked on together. The world really is our oyster, and we should capitalize on all of the opportunities that we have to be able to be, connected and see what we can come up with, so that we can, at the end of the day, not only better ourselves as human beings, but also elevate the continent.
You know, thank you very much. So, guys, you've heard it like collaboration saves time and it ensures a bigger project. And like Fungi says, if you want to go far, just collaborate. And don't be scared, or don't be afraid, or don't let your ego blind you from reaching out to someone. Reach out to someone today. So I want to say a very big thank you to Jafar and Fungi. Like, it's always amazing, like, because every time I've called, you guys have come, like, even with your busy schedules and all. And we really appreciate you here on Brand Talk. Like, we don't take it for granted and all. And thank you for giving us your time today. And just drop it here and say goodbye, and we'll see you on the next episode.